It feels like we're doing a show right now.
A podcast can be a show.
Yeah, so should we pretend like there's an audience, or are we just talking
No,
to each
I think
other?
we should. I think we should. Welcome to Spliff Screen podcast, episode 1.
Okay.
Sorry, Danny didn't want that to happen. Our very first episode, we didn't film any before this. We didn't film any before this and decided they weren't good enough. That's definitely not what happened. And if anyone tells you different, then they're a fucking liar. And you should question their moral character.
Yep. No. This is our first go at it. We watched we watched Big Fat Liar. I can't believe I watched Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging for nothing. And all that commentary.
It was for Ultraviolet by the Stiff Dillons. Ultimately, at the end of the day. But
such an incredible movie.
I guess we should recap, because this is the actual first episode, the conceit of the pod.
Oh yeah.
Which is that one time Danny and I were hanging out and I was like, you know how when you smoke weed sometimes it feels like your third eye is opening, and every small little interaction you witness feels layered and layered and layered in millions of micro social mechanisms that we can unpack at great length and ad nauseum in a way that's almost excruciating for anyone to listen to. So we thought, why not make our friends listen to us?
We said those exact words in that order.
Yeah. Do you think
standing in line for an open mic?
Yeah, but do you think that's a good summary?
I mean, yeah. I mean, here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
What's
the deal with airplane food? Sorry.
We both do Seinfeld, and we talk about movies while high.
Can I be Larry David?
Yeah.
Actually,
can you do Larry David?
I was gonna try, and I was like, I don't think I did. I feel like growing up, I always did the pretty good.
It's kind of in your energy to do that.
Jewish?
No.
Sorry.
All right, next week will be our official first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Again.
How would you describe what this podcast is and meant to be?
Well, it's I don't know. Like when I used to smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah,
and
me
I don't
as well.
Yes, you as well. And I don't anymore.
Yes.
I never do, because I can't. It just doesn't agree with me.
Yeah, I only do it when I'm hanging out with my friend Rebecca, who is the editor of this podcast. Hey, Rebecca.
She's gonna be so high and editing.
She's gonna be like, Stephanie, you smoke weed, you fucking liar. She's gonna be like, we smoke weed together all the time.
Yeah.
Like when we hang out, which is like once a week. Once a week. If you smoke weed once a week, you don't smoke weed. That's the rule.
That's like 50 times a year.
52, I think. Those wait.
I rounded down. I don't count Christmas.
You're thinking of states.
Oh, well, 50. We would have.
52 is the weeks in a year.
Didn't we add 2 states?
I don't know.
No, I swear to God.
Guys, a lot of this podcast is supposed to make me seem smart, a little bit at least, and starting off with me not actually being 100% positive about the amount of states and the amount of weeks in a year is really not a good look. I don't know numbers, I know concepts, and that's really what we're in for. And
you're really not
buckle up.
You're not really using any math, though.
It's true.
Those are just things you should know. No, but okay, you're smart. Let me just say,
thank you.
You are.
Okay.
I tell her this every day.
Yeah, I need the affirmations.
I was thinking adding 2 states. Middle Carolina, right? You got North and South, Middle Carolina. North and South Dakota, Middle Dakota.
Guys, we watched Robots this week.
Okay.
The movie we watched was Robots, which came out in 2005, animated by someone who started out he worked on Toy Story. His name's William Joyce. He also did Ice Age animation. I think that I read that was true.
Uh-huh.
If
Really?
that's not true, then they put a little Sid from Ice Age Easter egg in just like for funsies.
They did?
Yeah, when they're in like the railroad station, train station.
The railroad station? Oh my god.
Train station.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I guess I didn't do it as great of a job as introducing this podcast as I really hoped and intended to. But moral of the story, what we're going to do is we're going to watch movies from the 2010s.
And the 2000s.
No, the 2000s.
Yeah.
Mostly the 2000s. Sorry, already not true.
Oh my god.
And we're going to unpack them at nauseum in overarching grander concepts. Do you have any pivotal memories with robots that you'd like to share?
Yeah, the only memory I have of the movie is it was a school dance, right? And it was elementary school. I think it was like third grade, which is such a...
Why are you having a school dance in the third grade?
What do you mean?
I thought that's for like middle school. Wait, when the fuck do you have school dances?
Can I get through
Sorry.
my memories, please?
Sorry.
What if I just remembered that they weren't dances? Like at this point, like what if they weren't dances?
Yeah, I'm
What if I
having
was
a
just
hard
hanging
time
out with my
believing. I'm
friends?
having a hard time believing there were dances.
No.
There were no dances in the
gym,
third grade.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Middle school, it's all about... It's kind of like weird, right? Because it's all about everyone's dancing with each other, and it's a little pheromone driven.
Yeah.
In elementary school, when I went to
You're
the
just like,
dance,
"Woo."
I danced. Like I fucking danced my heart out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember just dancing like the night away. Like it was the roaring
Cupid
20s.
shuffle. Cha-cha slide.
Oh, the cha-cha slide, yeah. And I'm like failing third grade, and I'm like dancing in the gym.
Oh, God.
So we leave. Me and my friend, we duck out. And we go home. And he was like the friend who always got everything. Like, you know what I mean? He got everything first. He got all the games first, all the gaming systems, the consoles. Which it's like, you didn't even hate him because he would have just invited everyone over. We'd play on his shit.
Yeah.
So, he, for some reason, he got robots, like on DVD.
He was like, guys, come check this out after the dance.
Yeah. No, just to me. He's like, we're going to have a sleepover and we're going to watch robots. And what? It was very much just kids.
Yeah.
What if I just realized that was my first like homosexual experience? Nothing even happened. We just watched robots.
Yeah, that's innately homoerotic. Watching robots. Just kidding. It's really not at all. There's nothing.
I
there's
love
nothing,
that word. I love
really,
homoerotic. I just always love that word.
Unfortunately, very little. There's not much gay happening in this movie.
Yeah,
but we can unpack once we get into it all. But I would just like to say that my own personal relationship with robots is that I had like robots like utensils.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Like I think they were just forks, but I remember I would save them for special meals.
Really?
Because I would have I would keep them in the drawer with like the rest of the nice silverware, but I would only break them out. Well, by special meals I mean like we're having pasta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
like meals that you
enjoy.
cherish as a child.
Yeah,
like it would be psychotic to break it out for like chicken cutlet night. You reserve that for like it's precious. It's for pesto pasta nights.
Right.
We were big on pesto in my household.
Didn't have pesto until I was 16.
That's really sad for you. Should we talk about robots and gender?
Yes.
Instead of pesto pasta?
Well, first off, just to respond to that.
Oh, okay.
What a beautiful childhood already to have that forks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have specialty
Do I read
forks,
good childhood to you?
Yeah. You read excellent childhood.
Yeah, because of the forks.
It's just, yeah. It's because of your hair, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reads good childhood.
Yeah.
I'm balding, so
The forks were
mediocre.
awesome. I mean,
forks are awesome.
yeah.
So robots. Everyone loves the movie Robots.
Yeah.
I asked
Rose-colored glasses, honestly.
rose-colored glasses, which we will find out soon. We will,
We're gonna get into it.
we're gonna find out how bad this movie is.
Okay, well,
no,
I
but
should say that like
it's
we
not
both
bad.
went into this movie very enthusiastic because we remembered loving it so much,
Right.
and I did love it because of the forks. Lest we forget, I had forks. You don't have forks for a movie you don't fork with. What?
We'll be right back.
But and the movies again. Oh, I don't think did I make it abundantly clear that we're watching all these movies high?
Yeah.
By the way,
Spliff Screen.
Spliff Screen.
We're watching it high, except I'm not because I can't.
Except we are.
Except no, I will.
It's like we are. I promise. That's the point.
This is gonna be the final episode.
No. Okay, anyway, but the movie started.
jeez.
I was like, this movie is fucking brilliant. Like the movie started, and I was like, we are in for a treat. They start in like Rivet City or what the fuck? Yeah, Rivet City. No, Rivet Town is where Rodney Copperbottom, our protagonist, is from.
Yeah.
Whose father is voiced by Stanley Tucci and his adult self is voiced by Ewan McGregor. I mean, that's just like a delectable. You see that on a movie poster, you're like, I'm seated. I'll be buying popcorn even and the forks later.
Right.
That's how you know it's gonna be great.
Yeah, of course.
But it derails pretty fast.
The shift in your tone just now was insane.
Well, were you not devastated to find out that Robots is not as good on rewatch? Because I was pretty sad.
Listen, I'm 25. If I'm watching Robots and enjoying it as thoroughly as I did when I was 8,
Yeah.
like I have to see, I have to see a priest or something.
Notably, Robin Williams also star power performance.
Oh, rest in peace, King. No, I'm saying like rest in peace, Robin Williams.
I know you could not have sounded less genuine in that moment.
I know. I meant that with the fury of 1,000 suns.
Okay.
I
believe that you do mean that, but
yeah. Okay.
He is the saving grace of this film. In the moments of failure, he comes and rescues it with his comedic genius and the silly little voice. The silly little voice that he puts on.
He really made a childhood. You know what I mean? Like he made your childhood.
Yeah.
He was so ecstatic that it was like dreamlike. He fulfilled. Like, he's the one part of this movie that you watch back and you go, that's just as good as when I saw it when I was 8.
Yeah.
That
when he goes,
it's beautiful.
2 incredibly important moments from this movie where he's like, I know this city like the back of my hand. And then he looks and he's like, what's that? And then he gets like smacked by like a enormous hammer or something.
Yes.
And also, that was a good one, but my personal formative one was when he did Singing in the Oil, and he went like, I'm singing in the oil. And I was singing that, and Ben was like, I thought you made that up. He was like, I thought you were just like singing that to yourself. And I was like, no, that's in the movie. And he was like, I didn't remember it.
You're a baron in 1902, and like...
Yeah, like... Honestly, such a huge compliment that he would think that I would come up with something as genius as Singing in the Oil, but like in a fun voice. That's the peak of comedy, and Robin Williams did do that for us.
Yeah, for me it was the Britney Spears dance that he did during the final showdown. To me, that was just so...
Yeah.
That was like a fat head, you know what I mean? Remember fat heads?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have one? Oh my god, I bet you did. No,
my friend Austin.
You actually, now that I say it out loud.
My friend Austin, the friend I saw the robots with was my friend Austin, but this was my other friend Austin.
Oh my god, Danny, you have so many friends.
Yeah, half of them were named Austin.
You mentioned the Britney Spears thing, and I can't help but to feel that that's a perfect little sexy segue
It is.
into the main topic of this episode. As we perhaps previously mentioned, but maybe didn't stress, we do have topics, surprisingly. I know that may not seem like we do.
We do,
but
have
after we watched this
something
movie, we were like,
grounding us.
okay, so what are the themes that we're grappling with here? What are the concepts that are itching our brains, that are making our little genius receptors tingle? I don't know.
You are like a language pasta right now. You're choosing, like, every word you're choosing is like the third choice of word for that. Does that make sense? Genius receptors? That's like how people explained their brain in 1706.
I feel like that this is like actually, is it a compliment?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I think you're saying that I just have a rich vocabulary and a lot to say, and I think that's a good trait to have. And then maybe we should all be more like that. And I don't know why you're being so mean.
I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to be mean.
Okay.
Okay.
All this being said, you can't help but notice that these non-human beings are doing a lot of gender for not being gendered.
Yeah, they're robots.
They're robots.
Let's start with that.
And with that, I will open my laptop ever so gently. Guys, there are thorough notes, and I sent them to Danny prior to this, and I have even added more since.
Yeah, it's a
Are you daunted by my brilliant, not only linguistic skills, but note-taking abilities after giving a gander over my thoughts? Now I'm overdoing it. Now I'm like hyper aware, and I'm like, okay, can't say look. I have to think of a different
gander.
Verb. Gander. Fuck.
Isn't that like a part of a turkey or something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm the linguist here. Okay?
We
Stay in your
did boil
fucking
this. We there were some different interesting topics, like interesting concepts of this movie that we kind of split.
Yeah.
So you took the gendered robot route, and then I did some other stuff.
Which we
but
will
your
get into.
your whole thing on gendered robot, it's such a fascinating aspect of this movie.
Yeah.
And
It comes up so much.
Yeah.
First of all, often a sprinkle of I think in today's world reads a little transphobic, perhaps.
Oh,
jokes.
completely.
Yeah, there are jokes in there where you're like, why? They were like Fender, Robin Williams' character, gets like a skirt on them because they're made of parts, and he's like, oh my god, no, I'm in a skirt, and he's like upset about it.
Yeah.
And like there's like Rodney has like hand-me-downs from his like cousin, but it's from his lady cousin, so he has boobies, and it's like crazy. It's like all this insane stuff, but they're robots. Like, why do we have to exist in a robot world? Like, why does gender exist when there's no? Maybe it's actually, God, like, why do they have to have gendered body parts? I guess they do have body parts. They have parts that make up a body. Maybe it's not a human body, but it's a body in the sense that like it exists in the physical realm. You know what I mean?
It's shaped like a human.
Yeah. So I did do some research, and
well, they even do that with like robots in space, and like definitely in movies you see gendered like beings.
Yeah.
Like gendered alien beings.
Yeah.
That are like, you see alien women who have no breasts, but they're the top
but you're like
part of their
you're
chest.
like, I know you got titties under there.
Yeah, like they're hiding titties underneath their scaled
Or there's like 3
body.
boobs, and you're like, they're not human, but there are still titties, and there are 3 of them.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah.
I feel like 1 titty is more alien-like than 3.
Oh.
I don't know. But these robots,
They exist they
are
exist
men.
in a heavily gendered world.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this because I was like, okay, so I guess this movie is way less like, here we are in robot world, and more like, this is what our human world would look like if we were all robots. Was kind of the takeaway I had with it. Because you would think like robots, okay, we can transcend gender because we don't have the, you know, thousands of years of human history set up to give us gender. Okay, I just feel like I want to share my findings.
Okay. Share them with the class.
Yeah, okay. So the machines we use in our daily lives, Siri, Alexa, Google Voice, the famous ones, they all have like a gendered voice. And okay, so I found some readings, one of them being, why should we gender? Question mark? The effect of robot gendering and occupational stereotypes on human trust and perceived competency. I also read gender effects and perceptions of robots and humans with varying emotional intelligence. And I also read a Wired article, which is not the same thing as a journal review, but it is out there and it exists. And it's about
source.
Robot gender stereotypes. Yeah, hey, that's Wired has some important things to say.
Yeah.
And
it's robots, so Wired.
Yeah. While I will say that the Wired stuff didn't really have the nuance I would typically search for. General consensus across the board is that humans are more receptive to, like in real life, take Robots 2005, starring Robin Williams, Ewan McGregor out of the equation. Think about your real life world. We as human beings accept robots more when they're gendered. Because, or like not accept, like we trust the technology more when it's gendered. That's like proven across the board with research. Just like there's something that we're able to connect to more when the robot is gendered. And like the research is interesting because it's not always saying that like the gender itself matters. Like there's not like, if a robot is perceived as female or male, either way, it's trusted more. There is like stuff that the Wired article gets into, but I think just like the presence of gender itself is what makes us as humans trust it. The Wired article, this is a direct pull. We are already finding ways to mirror our social problems in our robots. And I was like, okay, so true. Gender existing in our world, that is a social problem, I would venture to say. But it says one study, for instance, found that participants judged a robot programmed to perform security work as more masculine, while they judged the same robot instead programmed for guidance to be more feminine, echoing the gender preferences towards voice assistants. But I feel like every time I read something that's like, I guess this is how I felt reading the Wired thing. It's like, and we're performing gender stereotypes, which is true in robots in a lot of instances. But I also think it's just that it's so impossible, I think, not impossible, but collectively to conceive of a society that's void of gender, even though it is something we socially constructed. Like it seems so far out of the realm of understanding that even like a movie that's trying to like create this world, this universe that's different from our own, doesn't even like try to touch that. Because it's like even if like someone who, even like a open-minded person who can get on board with thinking and like knows that this is true, that gender is a social construct, it's still like so fucking hard to like imagine a world void of gender, because you really can't. That's not like even fathomable. Like, obviously, there was going to be gender in Robots 2005. What would they be doing if they weren't gendered?
Well,
we would be, if we saw a movie when we were infants
true.
that was with, no, we'd be like, who are these beasts? We'd be like, this is fucking terrifying. Like, we can't even, like,
just theaters of children screaming.
We'd be like, and obviously, speaking from someone who's thought about gender too much, honestly, too much. Like, I understand why like this 2005 kids movie is like even in the boardroom scene when like that older when like the fucking villain, older dude, whatever the fuck, what's his name? But anyway, the point being, he's really good at that type where he's like trying to be like the mean guy, but he's secretly a loser. So you kind of feel pity for him.
He's the son, right? The son of the lady.
The son of the lady.
Whose name is, oh man. I don't know the characters' names.
It's anyway. I think it's Ratchet actually.
Ratchet, that's right.
Yeah. But that's why, I don't know, I just feel like it's so hard to like even fathom a world void of gender that like maybe this movie goes, it doesn't need to focus on gender as much as it does, but it's also like what the fuck else, like I couldn't even, like, even as someone who is not 6 years old in 2005, like I now have this knowledge about the world that obviously I didn't have as a kid. Even now I feel like if I was watching a movie and they were just robots, I'd be like, what the heck, you know what I mean? I'd be like, like it's just so innate to humanity that we've had this social construction so embedded in the fabric of our society. It feels very hard to like untangle that. We had some technical difficulties
in the middle of Steph making
some astute points about gender, and
so weirdly the camera cut out, so maybe we're being silenced.
Maybe we're being silenced. Maybe, I don't know. I just want to say that in the middle of the cut, I got worried that I was going to be canceled for saying that we can't conceive a world without gender, because I believe I like obviously could conceive of these genderless robots, but I also think that it's, if you really sit down and think about a world with no gender, although I would consider that a utopia of sorts. And gender is so essential to like the powers that be, you know, patriarchy. It's all mixed in, you know. Gender is baked into the power structures in our society in a way that makes it really hard to entangle them in a way that makes sense to our brains, I feel like. So that's why gender exists for robots, because our kid brains are tiny. Kid brains are tiny. They haven't taken intro sociology. They didn't learn that gender is a social construct.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why Brave Little Toaster scared the living shit out of me when I watched it.
Where are the robot titties?
Guy's a fucking AC
Why
unit.
doesn't this toaster have boobs? That doesn't make any sense.
I want an AC with tits. Otherwise, I'm gone. Like, yeah, I'm out. Right? You know, I'm a refund. I'm seeing Forrest Gump in the next theater.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This AC don't grow titties.
Oh, God. I feel like I need to like.
If this ceiling fan doesn't grow dick and balls, I swear
also,
to God.
your body parts do not equate your gender. Also, I'm gonna get so in my head about it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
I should say that, but I'm just making a point that
I'm confusing the two.
Yeah, I'm just making the point that gender is so baked into our society that it seems nearly impossible to be void of in a way that's almost prison-like to many.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I did want to say, my tangent, I'll just really quickly put it out there, is on the Wikipedia, Amanda Bynes' character is described as, who's the yellow robot whose name I can't remember, and she has the pigtails and she flirts with Rodney Copperbottom.
Yeah. And
they're like, my kid's sister. And I guess she's supposed to be a child, but that's not entirely clear, other than for the fact that she is flat-chested.
Right.
But she's described on the Wikipedia as a tomboy, which does not come across in the movie at all. And in fact, in the movie, there's a scene in which she's like, where they're like circling through the rooms when Rodney and Fender are staying at Aunt Fanny's, and they go to the sister's room, Amanda Bynes' character, and it's like pink and like teeny bopper posters, and she's like doing her face, and the Wikipedia is like tomboy,
right?
Because no boobs,
and she hangs out with guys.
Yeah, but she has like, and so maybe in some ways Amanda Bynes is a saving grace of non-binary representation in this movie.
Oh my God, you're saying the yellow robot is the only non-binary character in this movie from 2005 without it meaning to be?
Yeah, I think that Robin Williams' character could be, would it not be for all the moments where they're put into feminine garb and they're repulsed by it, which makes absolutely no sense for the character in any way.
Right.
Which is deeply upsetting to me. But Danny, do you want to talk about Domino's?
Okay, so everybody
Danny was when we sat down to talk about our big takeaways from this film. Danny was like, I gotta talk about the dominoes.
It is, in some ways, the movie.
The dominoes.
Every person.
Not pizza.
Not pizza. Every person I've spoken to about this movie, I say, what's your favorite part of the movie?
Yeah.
They go, oh, the domino scene. Everybody's about the
my
domino.
favorite's the singing in the oil, so don't speak on behalf of everyone, because I don't know who this everyone you're speaking of is.
Yeah. Well, you're lost in...
lost in the gender.
You're buying utensils. Everyone loves... I love the domino scene. It's the only scene from the movie that I remember. So, I like... I like objects in movies. I like when movies... you can think of them as like artifacts of like the film. Like you have the living people. You have their lived experience. You have like their relationships. You have the world, and you have the things in the world. But then there's like little objects of the movie that tchotchkes. So I was like looking into dominoes, right? And that got me onto
you accidentally end up ordering pizza. You're like, so I really was like deep on the Domino's lore, and somehow Pizza Tracker was up there.
Yeah, I got addicted to Domino's pizza.
Just trying to take a discreet sip.
I've only eaten Domino's for the last 3 weeks, just to understand it. Yeah, okay, so in the scene in the movie is like toppling the dominoes, right?
Yeah.
And I looked into that, like, when did people stop playing dominoes the way it's always been played for like 1,000 years?
You mean like where you're like connecting the dots and stuff?
Connecting the dots.
And it became more about the little toppling fun
It became more about standing them up, lining them up.
Oh my God.
One after the other.
A little history lesson is in store for us. Sorry, I'm actually excited.
I do not have the history of the domino. I'm less interested about the fucking history of dominoes.
I can look that up after, I guess.
I'm sure it's some Chinese thing that from 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
That was invented, just like I think chess was invented in China.
I haven't.
Safe to assume that everything was invented in China. Oh my God.
Gunpowder, we know that for sure.
Gunpowder is the only thing I learned in school. So I was thinking, like, when did people start toppling dominoes?
Yeah,
because
topping
the dominoes. Okay, whatever. People started pushing dominoes over like idiots, right? At some point, they
were
stopped
like, "Oh,
playing.
they're fine. They fall over."
Yeah, they stopped playing the game the way it's supposed to be. Well, maybe before I go into this, we should talk about Mr. What's his name?
Big Weld.
Big Weld.
I'm so excited.
The world's greatest robot.
The world's greatest ball. He's a big old ball.
He's a big ball of fucking just parts.
Guys, I did so much research on circles and shapes. Like I was so like the gender stuff, whatever.
Right.
Let's talk about fucking circles.
Right.
I have so much to say about circles.
Right.
But first, Danny has stuff to say about dominoes. I'm so sorry.
You're like doing commercials for your point that you're gonna make later.
Guys, just keep listening. You won't even believe the knowledge I'm about to drop on you about circles.
Right. As soon as I'm done with the point, I'm now discovering I only really half believe in. It's not even that interesting.
So what about Mr. Big Weld?
So he's the world's greatest robot, world's greatest inventor.
Yeah.
And
these are true facts.
He basically built Robot City from everything you see in the movie is a function of Big Weld's vision and dream.
This is what we are told in the universe.
Then he disappears, right?
Yeah.
And this guy takes over, and he's evil, and that's that whole part of the movie.
Yeah. Little Miss Sunshine.
But where's Big Weld? They go and see Big Weld later on in the movie, and this brings us back to dominoes. So I was really, really interested. I'm really interested in when things start. So Rube Goldberg was a cartoonist. I don't know. He lived from 1880 to 1970, and I have no idea who this person was. I just made up the name.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
No. You know Rube Gold.
I do.
My god.
Sorry.
It's an intricate machine person.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've heard of them. Ruth Bader Ginsburg machines.
Congratulations. You had. Oh my god.
It ends with an abortion. Didn't she? Sorry. She was for women.
She was for woman. Okay, so Rube Goldberg is an intricate machine, right? And everyone, makes them and posts it online. It's very popular because it's easy to pay attention to, right?
Yeah, very dude perfect.
Right.
You're like, look at this sick trick shot.
Absolutely. It's all tricks and
dominoes
gizmos.
are a big part of it.
It's the ultimate thing to be watching, really in a grand scheme of things. So, but the thing about dominoes is that it's not intricate. It's just boop. Lining one after the other.
Yeah, you're just like, boop.
And that got me thinking, why are people so interested in that? And I stumbled upon this video. This guy was using dominoes to demonstrate computers and how computers work.
Oh.
So
how did computer?
So it's it's right. It's like zeros and ones, and there's like combinations of zeros and ones.
Imagine that was the first time I've ever heard that in my life. I was like, what? Zeros and ones? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. He's demonstrating how computers work. And so there's something there's something computational about dominoes. How one thing leads to the other.
Yes.
You really need an understanding of computers to really
binary, gender binary, code binary.
Right. Yeah, that's not the point I was making.
No,
that's interesting though.
I'm connecting the dots between my last segment and your current segment.
Yes. Those are the same word.
I know. Those are the dots. Dots, dominoes.
And the dominoes.
It's the thread.
Right. It's sort of a thread.
Yeah, I see the thread. I'm connecting the dots for the viewer at home. Dominoes.
Yeah, so dominoes. This is kind of like working like a dominoes thing. Like I'm setting up the dominoes and you keep knocking them down. I was interested in why people started playing with dominoes in this way in the first place. Computers. In the first place. And I was looking it up and it said that dominoes became more mass produced in the mid 20th century. Mm-hmm. So people and also as the world became more industrialized and more dependent on automation, people had more leisure time. So it's not saying that's why dominoes exist. It's saying that dominoes exist maybe because people there was just not enough stuff you had free time. Might as well just boop. Create this meaningless machine that doesn't do anything. It just and it only works once.
Dominoes looked like I really wanted to eat them. I feel like as a kid, didn't they look like a fun little snack? Sorry, I was being like really genuine in that moment.
Wait, is that why cosmic brownies look the way they do?
Maybe that's why I think they look like a fun snack. It's probably like they're probably manufactured very similarly.
They are. No, they have the divot in the middle.
Yeah.
And the sprinkles. It's like eating a domino.
I know.
Yeah.
See, I had something meaningful to contribute to the dominoes discourse. Should I talk about shapes?
Yeah. No, I was reading.
Do you have anything left to say about dominoes?
Well, the last thing I was saying is that
please.
Mr. Big Weld
ball. The big old ball.
Big Weld, the big ball kind of looks like the Earth.
Oh my God. Amazing point.
He is a representation of like the pinnacle of automation. He's invented all that he could, right? And so what does he do? He starts playing with dominoes.
Yeah,
so that was like my big point.
It's great that you ended with Mr. Big Weld because it segues into the favorite part of the research I did.
He's a big fucking circle.
He's a big old ball. Like, he's just a big fucking ball.
Yeah.
And there's something, we did talk about gender, and I feel like I'll probably want to talk about gender a lot of times in this podcast, but there aren't going to be a lot of times where I want to talk about balls. And and shapes.
That time you should have chosen a word.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I actually don't think so. Guys, I pulled a quote from Galileo to segue us into this segment.
Okay.
The universe is written in mathematical language, and its characters, like in a movie.
Right.
He didn't say like in a movie. That's my ad lib.
What if he said that? Like in the movie, robot.
Like in the movies. That's a Galileo impression.
That's a Galileo impression.
Are triangles, circles, and other geometric figures without which it is impossible to humanly understand a word. Also could be world, and I forgot to put the L when I typed that up, because I feel like a world makes it a better quote. So let's just pretend he said to humanly understand the world. Yeah. Because I like that better. Sorry, Galileo. I'm rewriting history. Okay.
It's an interesting substitution.
Yeah. And okay, so the reason why I wanted to talk about shapes and balls specifically.
Which is a shape.
Yeah, that's true. 3D.
3D ball.
Circle, 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Really, he's a sphere.
You just spat all over my face.
I don't believe you.
You didn't.
You do that all the time. You're like, oh. I'm like, I don't actually think I did spit.
I don't know. I just like pretending that I'm... I love pretending that I'm being disrespected to the utmost degree.
Yeah, I've noticed that. But I have nothing but respect for you, and the implication that I don't is disrespectful to me. Everything about that, Danny.
Oh my God.
I'm the one who's being disrespected in this moment. And you should be more considerate of my feelings.
I'm sorry.
Were you worried for a second? At all? No. You knew I was kidding.
I was just thinking about balls.
Aren't we all? They pretty much stay on the mind. I'm thinking about balls.
Yeah, there's the part of the brain that always thinks about balls. That's
circles.
They teach you that in brain
school. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, that's actually the whole point of why I thought shapes would be so interesting to talk about, because it's true for animation, I think, across the board, but it felt particularly noticeable in this movie that like the exemplar like hero type, even though Mr. Big Weld's not like the protagonist, he's just like the aspiration that the protagonist looks up to, and he's like obviously flawed, but it's like the ideal inventor, the ideal person in this world. Like, he's the guy. He's a big old sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the, like, icky characters, the mean characters are all pointy. They're mean, so they're pointy.
They are.
And what's up with that? Like, why? I feel like that's true with animation. Like,
it's because it's like...
it's like, ugh. It's going to poke an eye out.
Ew.
He's just a big old ball. Name other famous balls. Epcot.
Chris Farley.
I was gonna say Santa.
Santa?
Yeah, Santa's
just overweight.
No, that's why I said Santa, who's not. My notes went away, but
I can't think of any other famous balls.
The sun. The Earth Mother.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is like a cosmic shape. It is just naturally occurring in space. Like on a macro scale, everything's a sphere.
This is true. And I will exactly tell you why that is true. Okay, in the Book of Circles, which is a real book that exists, data designer Emmanuel Lima says that human beings have just like are naturally drawn to things that are curved. It feels like gentle and quiet, and things with like angular lines perceived as hard, harsh, cruel, like that ugly mom in this movie who's just so ugly and heinous. She's all triangular and pointy. And the quote from this book, just it goes back to primitive roots in nature. Most shapes are curvilinear. They're softer. They provide more safety as opposed to angular shapes, the teeth of an animal, the hard shape of a rock.
Wow.
Those are signifiers of danger. And animated filmmakers know that. They're like, this fucking creepy lady, we can't have her be soft. She needs to be scary. So give her some fucking triangles and let the cool inventor dude just be a big old ball.
Right.
I don't know. It is kind of crazy when you think about like, okay, this is the study that I found that kind of like blew my mind a little bit because obviously there's a lot more to these animations in terms of like they have like fucking faces and facial features. But if you honestly think about it and think if they were, you still obviously have like the narrative of them speaking, but you took out their faces and only had them operating in the space as shapes. Like in the movie, like they don't really make crazy facial expressions. Think about it. Like they're never ever that emotive.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of emotion is able to come out of this movie more so in just like the actual character design and shapes of these characters and voices.
Their
but
movements too are very.
They go hand in hand, but
they're very cartoonish. It kind of reminds me of like early animation from like.
Yeah.
Or like animation from like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Which is like every frame was like carefully
boom,
drawn
pow.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very boom pow.
It's like whoop-pow.
Whoop-pow movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like today. A lot of movies today have like you have two animated characters who are standing still and just talking to each other.
I know, but they're giving face. They're like, I don't know. I guess did you see Intro to the Spider-Verse and also Across the Spider-Verse? Dude, go see it. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost feels dumb to be talking about animation. Like to be like, let's talk about the animation styles in Robots 2005 when like the pinnacle of animation is like out in theaters right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did watch a 1944 animation that two psychologists created. I did send that to you. Did you watch it?
I did.
It
was
okay.
So interesting.
So if you're maybe I'll get Rebecca to like put this in or something, but I don't know. It's basically just like this box and these triangles, and the triangles are just like moving around in this space. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'll describe it as. But these psychologists, lady psychologists by the way, so that's exciting. They did
Holla.
Do this. Yeah. Great. They showed this animation to 34 people, and 33 out of 34 like described a story when they were asked like, what did you see? They were like, only one person was like, these triangles are moving. Everyone else was like, the big triangle is a man and he's trying to scare the little lady triangle. They all had like these actual stories.
Yeah, they looked at the shapes and saw a story.
Yeah. And human, like there's something innate to humans. It's like an actual phenomenon in the brain.
Innate, but it's not obvious. Why people do that?
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about it.
Yeah. It's like we interpret 2D shapes as social agents rather than just inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Especially when they're moving. But like what's the anthropomorphism is the official verb for vernacular.
It's a very cruel
Not
word.
Vernacular. I had a really hard time saying it.
Everyone does.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's fascinating that I see, like, we generally see a circle and we're like, safe. But we see a triangle and we're like, oh no. Even though, I mean, not like, basically, yes, that's my take, is if you see a big old circle, like, when have you ever felt concerned when you saw a big old ball? That's universally a good thing. Lint chocolate comes in a ball. Christmas ornaments, balloon.
Yeah,
like
balls are nice.
Yeah, we love balls. Universally great things come from balls. Triangles, scary.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on.
Excuse me? What?
Like pentagrams and like
Pentagrams?
things that are scary are triangular. Sharp teeth.
Oh, fuck that. Fangs.
Bermuda triangle. They don't call it the Bermuda Circle.
I thought
Do
you
they
were
call
going
it
to
the
say the
Bermuda
country
Circle?
of Bermuda.
No, they call it the Bermuda Triangle because triangles are fucking scary. Circles are warm and welcoming, like the Epcot ball. Just kidding. I don't really have that much of a huge affinity towards Epcot, but they don't call it the Epcot Triangle. No, do they? So.
Well, I think
about
also
that.
a sphere is just easier to create.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have made a triangle, Danny. Okay.
You think if they made it,
if you walked into
do you
Epcot and
think-
they had a big old triangle, you'd be like, "What the fuck? That's fucking.
you don't
Why
see
is
like
that there?"
you don't see like pyramids.
You'd be like,
or
they'd be like,
anything.
Walt Disney's trying to pierce me.
What,
You'd
what
be
if
like,
people
you'd be
came
like,
in?
I'm gonna get impaled by the Epcot ball. I don't see the Epcot ball and think I'm gonna get impaled.
What if people?
Maybe it'll roll over and it squash me, but that would be kind of silly, so that's fine.
What if, yeah,
If you were
silly.
squashed by the Epcot ball, you'd be like, that sucks, but LOL. But if you were impaled by the Epcot ball, that would Epcot triangle. If you were impaled by the Epcot, that would suck. Are you not on board with this?
Oh, I'm on board this train of thought.
I'm just saying triangles are scary, and I think that's the reason why the Mr. Big Weld is a big old ball.
I think like I agree with I totally
Yes.
see that. Yeah.
Thank you.
It makes him more gregarious too.
Yeah.
Like, to be the head of
He's Santa.
yeah. He's just big and fat and like why is he fat?
He's a sphere.
Oh, he's sphere. Why is he spherical?
I literally just explained to you for 20 minutes. What's that a reference? I forgot.
The game sphere. You know.
Oh, wait, good job. It took me a second. I was like, that's so familiar. It's not the game's triangle. That would be scary. You'd be like, Drake's gonna get his fucking eye poked out.
Fuck Drake.
There's something so wonderful about a sphere. I think that they would never make a character that's big and jolly a triangle.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't. No, evil people
Pointy. Evil pointy is
just boil it down.
we're talking about shapes, okay? We're talking about literally
Shrek.
the most rudimentary thing we can talk about. You know, you play with them when you're a kid.
Speaking of shapes,
Okay.
you ever think that like Texas is shaped like Texas? Meaning like Texas is a shape?
Yeah.
It's the shape of Texas.
I think that's true.
What else is like there's nothing even
Yeah.
close to the shape
Should
of
we talk about
Texas.
gerrymandering while we're at it?
Ugh.
Just kidding. I don't know. I can't speak on that.
Gerrymander machine?
Jerry Seinfeld, bring him in. He's back. He's been hiding in the closet.
I actually wrote the B movie after robots.
I don't think I'm gonna make a stance that we're never gonna watch the Beat movie on this podcast.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I want to avoid that and Shrek. Like,
Yeah.
all the movies.
Sorry,
people-
guys. We don't need to over meme a movie.
No.
Okay, we've been going for quite a while, and I would love to tap into some quick little topics. If you have something else you'd like to share, I can also just tap into consumerism because it would be probably not the best if we talked about all the things that this movie. Actually, that's good. I feel like the whole point of this podcast is to talk about the things that are not a concern of the movie at all. Like
We're not even really talking about the movie.
robots. Well, I wrote out all this stuff about like consumerism and how like Mr. Big Weld is like cyanide, filanide, and how like we as consumers we like invent all these or like, you know, big corporations or like the evil people behind the beauty magazines and whoever the fuck else will sell you something and tell you need it when it's really a want, and it becomes increasingly hard like consumerism and like capitalist culture to distinguish what's a need and what's a want and how they become so blurred together. Ah, fuck. Okay.
What's up, Spliff Screeners?
What's brief technical difficulties, but we're right back for easy listening. Did you ever watch Frasier? Sorry, I don't.
The boxer?
Frasier?
Yeah.
The television show?
Oh no, never watched the TV show.
Oh. Ever?
I watched a few clips and it was so bizarre to me that I stopped
Young Sheldon.
watching it. Yeah, Young
Where
Sheldon.
was like Subway Surfers was below it
What?
on like TikTok when you see like it's like young Sheldon and then there's someone's playing Subway Surfers and you can watch both at the same time.
Oh my God. Like, how further destroyed can someone's attention span be where
Yeah.
you can't even watch a clip?
You can't even watch young Sheldon these days.
You used to be able to watch young Sheldon all the time. All the time.
I just want to sit down with some young Sheldon and a soda and call it a day. But there's Subway Surfers on. And I got to see that too.
I miss
all
the
at once.
fucking 90s.
Yeah, when we could watch young Sheldon.
Just watch young Sheldon. Fuck.
Fuck.
You could play young Sheldon on N64.
Oh my God.
Imagine young Sheldon as a N64 game.
Bro.
Yeah.
What even happens on... This is not the point. Hold on. We should get back into it.
Yeah, well, let's get back into it.
We're tight on time because I don't shut up and I have caused so many little interjections that have really slowed us down in quite an unproductive way, but maybe in an enjoyable way to a listener. Only time will tell.
Well, it's difficult to tell in this world if the robots are living capitalist lives.
Well,
because you never really see anybody.
They're not doing... But this is the thing, though. They themselves are the product. The things that they need money for are themselves. Their bodies. Their body parts. I mean, they eat like junk or whatever.
That's not obvious in the movie.
I think other things happen, but like...
That's probably true.
Whenever they talk about like the concerns of like money in their society, it's all relating back to their parts. They're like, we're not selling little parts anymore. We're only selling big upgrades. Like you have to buy the big upgrade or you can only buy the little part.
Never connected that. Everybody's just trying to afford new parts for themselves. Wow.
Yeah. I
can't tell if that's bleak or not.
Do I have the sociological journal to share with you in this moment? It's called You Are What You Buy, Postmodern Consumerism and the Construction of Self, written by Daniel Todd.
Daniel Tosh.
Yeah. Tosh 2.0. This was pulled from an episode. Direct pull quote. Consumption is intimately tied to the creation and the production of its sense of self. A lot of this article is talking about how consumerism like offers like an illusion of betterment. But at the end of the day, it's not ultimately about like bettering you as a human. I mean, we see that in our non-robots society. Buy this face cream and it'll make your face all pretty. But in this robots world, it's like buy this part to survive and exist and be a functional whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. But consumption functions as a way for the consumer to communicate with society at large where they fit within the social structure. That's what's quoted in that article. But like it's true for robots.
Yeah.
They call them out modes if they don't have sufficient parts, which is interesting because that means old fashioned, but mode, fashion.
Mode.
Consumerism.
It's interesting with humans, it's all very external. And like it's all like preserving the external presentation. Like you don't really go like oh, that actor just got a new spleen.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like that actor just got a new calf. Look at that! It's so shiny. And
yeah.
It's not. That's not a thing. But it's all like getting your cheek whatever sucked out.
Yeah. Ozempic, skinny.
Yeah. So but like with the robots, they're all like, I need a new conductor in my left whatever.
Yeah, the consumerism is tied to their self. It's inescapable for them in a way that we can escape it if we choose to, but we actually cannot because we are doomed to live in this society and we have no hope for us all. But the robots kind of have hope because ironically the ones who like with the truest sense of self, the out modes if you will, are the ones on the fringes of society engaging the least in consumerism. It's because they're poor and they can't. But
they're having a good time.
They're still the most individualistic. They're kind of, I mean, it's like a double-edged sword, obviously, because of the poor part. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of nice that this movie in some ways is saying, like, you're actually more in tune with yourself the less you have to buy. Whereas
That's
like
true.
in our society, we're kind of told
People
like
blame
buy
society,
this.
but at some point,
Well, I don't know how to say. There's really not a way to say like. I just mean like in our world, in the state in which we exist, we are sold the concept that if we buy things, it'll like lead to a path of like a truer self. That's why people buy clothes instead of like lay in a burlap sack, because that would be fucking sad, and you want to like express your individuality through that.
I also don't like feeling like a potato.
Freaking cool. Well, some of us would love to feel like a potato, but that would be weird. So we choose to wear clothes. You know? I just think it's cool that the robots that are the biggest individuals in this society are the ones that engage in the consumer culture the least, even though it's, again, because they're poor. But it's nice for them.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes
it's obviously a bad thing.
This isn't true, but like I feel like the individuality is bad, and everyone should be wearing the same thing.
Like on Etsy Classified, they actually learned that that's a bad thing on Etsy Classified, and I thought that you liked that show.
I love that show.
Yeah, they all do uniforms, and then they're like, "This sucks. We have stuff to say about ourselves."
Yeah, but they're all like seeped in their own ego. They're in middle school. What are we talking about?
You're like, these fucking egomaniac Ned deserves to rot because he wants to wear his stupid little flannel.
That entire show is sound effects.
Yeah. Should we wrap this?
Okay.
Well, our next episode is gonna be School of Rock.
Oh yeah.
If you want to listen along.
School of Rock.
Thank you so much for listening to our very first episode of Spliff Screen podcast. Thank you for coming on this journey and coming along on the first episode where we're getting out all the kinks and whatnot and having fun while we're at it. Thanks for listening. My mom and Ben probably. I think those are the 3 listeners.
Her mom and my dad. Thank you for both sitting down together weirdly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, guys.
And watching it.
All right. 3. I'll just clap.